Hey moms, it's Rachel here, and I am live this week talking about how to heal your pelvic floor while training for a 5K. So using the 5K as your training to heal your pelvic floor and your core and everything that goes along with that. Okay, so if you are coming on live, say hello, say hi in the comments. If you are catching this as a replay later, please give me a hashtag replay in the comments. I love to see who is popping on and to say hello to whoever is here. Emma is joining me. She is tired and ready for a nap, so I'm not sure how this will go. It's always kind of a toss-up. I just got the other two in their rooms for naps, so hopefully we can get through some of this content. But in any case, we're here this week again talking about how to train for a 5K in order to heal your pelvic floor, okay? Hey, Sarah, nice to see you. Hey, Vernice, nice to see you as well. And thank you for all of you who commented on the post with your interest, because that helps me to know like what topics specifically that you want me to do trainings on. So this helps me for developing future trainings moving forward. All right, Emma wants to sit up, so I'm just gonna sit her up here. She wants to see what's going on. She is Miss Nosy Pants lately, so let's see how long this lasts for. All right, so most of the time when I work with women, and even when I'm having conversations with women in our Facebook group and even outside of our Facebook group who I'm meeting online, the common thought is I can start training for, and I use sort of 5K just sort of loosely, right? So it can be half marathon, it can be a 10K, it can be that 50K, right? So whatever it is that you sort of have your sights on, using that as a time frame for working towards it, right? So a lot of times what women say to me is, well, first I need to work on my ab separation. First I need to heal my prolapse. First, I need to lose the baby weight. First, I need to work on my core, okay? And I say, why can't we be doing both, right? So why can't we use that time frame or that training, like that training plan, right? And now that I've been in this space of women's health and rehabbing postpartum myself to get back to running and training myself for events as well. I've done half marathons, only up to half marathon half marathons the last couple years since having my last 3 babies. And so that becomes sort of the focal point of this is what I'm working towards, but like what's happening when we're getting there, right? So I think a lot of us think of like a training plan, right? Like I'm going to train for a 5K is just like the running piece, okay? So I'm going to challenge you to think a little bit beyond that, okay? So it's not just the running. The running, of course, is a big part of it, but what's happening in between the running, right? So what's happening on the non-running days? What's happening as far as your strength and conditioning is concerned? Because yes, you should be doing that, and if you're not, you should definitely start, okay? Not only is it good just as a runner for injury prevention, but as a mom and a runner, with a pelvic floor that has been through a lot, it's especially important to make sure that you are supplementing your running with alternative training, with additional training, with training that is going to make your running better, right? So think of it as I'm doing this other stuff in order to run better, run more smoothly, feel better, right? A lot of moms get back to running and they say, it doesn't really feel great. I remember when I first started running again after I had my second baby, I started too early. I started at about 7.5, 8 weeks. Hey, Tyler, nice to see you. When you pop on here, say hi, say hello in the comments. Give this post, this training, a like or a love, because that helps bump this training so that more moms can see it and more moms get notified, okay? Because Facebook is kind of funny that way, so that just allows more moms to benefit from this training. So when I started running again after I had my second baby, this is baby number 4, I didn't know all the stuff that I know now. Hindsight is always so much clearer, right? And I felt not only was I pushing through pelvic pain that I shouldn't have been pushing through, but I was also like, my belly just felt so like unstable. Like my abdominal muscles just felt so like loose and wiggly and jiggly, and it did not feel good at all. And it wasn't just because I was carrying that extra weight still. It was because my muscles hadn't rehabbed enough. If you've ever felt that way before, like your core just feels like loose, type loose down in the comments, because it's definitely, I don't think it's just me. I've heard one of my previous coworkers, she started running after her first baby at 6 weeks, and she was like, oh yeah, it felt like my internal organs were gonna like fall out. Okay, that's not a good feeling. Okay, definitely not a good feeling. Since that time, right, I have learned a lot more, and now this is what I teach. Okay, so after I started running after my second, or after my third and this little one, it's been much better. I did not have that feeling at all. Okay, my core, yes, I'm still carrying a little bit extra weight, but whatever, I feel pretty good. And I don't feel like things are like loosey-goosey. That's another term that I hear moms use too. Like, it doesn't feel like things are, I have some competition here. It doesn't feel like things are like loose or unstable when I'm running. Okay, so what I teach now is that the training for your event is actually the healing for your pelvic floor. Okay, so the current guidelines, if you're not familiar, are to wait 12 weeks before you start running again. Okay, so 12 weeks, I like to say 12 weeks is the new 6 weeks. Okay, so that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be doing nothing during that time. It means that you should be healing your pelvic floor, getting ready to run again. And so let's say you're further out postpartum. Let's say it's been, I don't know, 6 months, 8 months, a year, longer than that. You still need to start back at foundations, okay? So everybody needs to start with that foundational piece, okay, to rehab your core and your pelvic floor. So even though you're further out postpartum, okay, so the risk of developing like prolapse, let's say, if you start when you're a year postpartum, is a lot less than if you try to start running at like 6 weeks postpartum, okay? So there's that piece is a little bit different, but I would argue that if you are not setting the stage properly, if you are not doing the strengthening and the healing for your pelvic floor to get back to running, then that's where you're gonna run into trouble as far as like injuries are concerned. Knee pain is a common complaint. Plantar fasciitis that just won't go away is also another common complaint. Hip pain or even back pain, okay? So I think that training for a 5K or training for your half marathon or your 10K is actually the process. So the process of training for that event includes the strengthening piece, right? It includes the rehab piece. It includes closing your diastasis. It includes healing your leaking, preventing leaking from happening once you start running again. Does that make sense? I hope this is making sense. Let's see. Setting your sights on a race distance or event. So a lot of times after moms have their babies, and sometimes we feel like we can start running maybe before we should, as far as time is concerned. Put a race on the calendar, put a distance event, or just a distance goal on your calendar, right? So let's say you just had your baby and you want to get back to running a half marathon, right? So you're not going to start running per se until that 12-week mark. So how long does it take you to train for that particular event? You're going to tack that on to the end of that time frame, okay? Depending on like what your training plan is that you use. So it varies person to person depending on your level of experience and sort of how you want to take that training approach. But those first 0 to 12 weeks is the time that you are going to, one, reconnect with your core, okay, and prime your pelvic floor. So what we're doing is we're getting things reconnected, right? And a lot of times, right after you have your baby, your belly has been stretched. Like finding those muscles again can be a challenge, and it's more of like but in addition to, it's strengthening, but also that reconnection. So sort of that mind-body connection, so that you are working the muscles in the right way. I hope you can hear me over Emma, because she sounds like she's really competing with me today. So that's sort of like phase 1, right? And then phase 2 would be bridging that gap between pelvic floor and core work basics and running again, okay? And I think that's where most of the fallout is, where a lot of moms sort of leave that out. And a lot of moms, you know, do like the Kegels and the pelvic floor stuff, and then they say, hey Christine, hey Marie, nice to see you here. If you're coming on live, say hi, say hello in the comments. If you're catching this on replay, give me a hashtag replay below. I love to see who's popping on here. So that middle phase, so like that bridging the gap between Kegels and running again, that's where we really want to target like the runner specific, mom specific exercises. So we're still working core and pelvic floor, but we're also getting the body ready to run again, right? So don't feel like you can't do anything for the first 6 or even 12 weeks to get ready for running your first or, you know, next 5K, first postpartum 5K. There's so much that you really can and should be doing. And taking these measures, I cut my hair, okay? Do you notice I cut my hair? I asked for 9 inches to be cut off. She cut more like 11. But it's still in like baby territory. I don't know if any length of hair is not in baby territory. I've gone from super short hair to long hair and back again several times in my life, and it's always, babies always find like somewhere to grab onto, don't they? Bernice says, Emma's totally fine. I think all of us moms have learned to just have babbling in the background. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Sometimes I think she's louder than she is. Like if I listen to the replay, I'm like, oh, it wasn't really that noticeable, but like she's right in my ear, so it sounds kind of loud. So let's see, what was I talking about? Oh, sorry. So that middle phase, so like bridging the gap, right? So doing that strength, endurance, coordination, like single leg activities, dynamic movement, okay? Working up to higher level activity, higher level impact, okay? Because the pelvic floor, what we've learned through research is that impact, which is running, the pelvic floor can't really withstand a lot of impact up until at least that 12-week mark, okay, postpartum. And again, remember, if you're further than 12 weeks, but you haven't laid the foundation and done the work, okay, your pelvic floor probably still needs to be primed in order to withstand the forces of running again, okay? And then after that, right, the third phase would be getting back to running, right? So starting your gradual return to run, and working towards that 5K, working towards that 10K, working towards that half marathon, where you're building your running base, but you're also continuing the strength and conditioning, and that those exercises that are going to support your running, those exercises that are going to make you a better runner, that are going to help you get your pace back, get your gait back, get all of those things that your pre-pregnancy, just like feeling back to normal again, back sooner, okay? A lot of moms, including myself, it's, you know, we say, I just want to feel normal again. I just want to like put on my shoes and head out the door, or jump on the treadmill, get on the trail, whatever it is, and just go for that run, okay? And like not have to think about, oh, you know, like my form and my back and my knee and my hip and my ankle and my this and my that. And like how many miles until I start leaking again, or like did I go pee right before I left the house, or where can I stop along the route to like go pee? Like we don't want to have to think about those things, right? We want to just go out and run for the pure sake of running, right? Like that joy and that freedom of just running freely again, right? So by doing this work ahead of time, what you're doing is you're setting yourself up for success. You're setting yourself up not to fail. You're setting yourself up to smoothly transition back to running without any setbacks, okay? And I think that is the hardest part, and that was for me after my second baby, was I had to like stop and start and stop and start, because my body was just, I didn't take the right steps to heal, okay? I didn't take the right steps for my pelvic floor, my pelvic pain. and it prolonged my entire process. Did I get back to running? Yeah, sure. I definitely got back to running, but do you know how long it took me to like feel like myself again? To feel like, oh, if I increase my mileage, I'm going to be hurting for 3 days, to not have that feeling again. It took me over a year and a half. And I don't want that for you. And I definitely don't want that for, you know, for any of my clients or moms that I work with. After babies 3 and 4, by following this, you know, this framework that I now teach in my postpartum return to run program, I got back to running in just 3 months. Okay, 3 months. I think it was more like 3.5 months after my third, and it was like 12 weeks and like 2 days after I had Emma. And like, what a world of difference of like feeling so much better. Hey Nitty, hey Julia, it's nice to see you. When you pop on, say hi, say hello in the comments. Give this training a like or a love. It helps to increase the algorithm so that more moms get notified that this training is happening or has happened, and just more moms can benefit from it. So that's sort of like the basics, is like healing your pelvic floor while you are training for a 5K. And I think it's more of like a mindset shift or like a mental shift, that doing the prep work is the training, okay? That the running, it's not just the running. The running's important, absolutely. Like you need to run train to do a running event, right? Or to achieve your distance goal. But I think shifting our mindset and our perspective to include, right? Include all of that pre-work, include building the foundation, include the strength and conditioning as part of the training. You know, like after I had Emma, you know, doing, you know, even just like my postpartum pelvic floor exercises. If you want a link to that, let me know. It's a PDF that I offer for free. So if you haven't gotten it, let me know in the comments. Just put down pelvic floor PDF, and I will send that over to you. But doing those exercises, I mean, I could even say like 2 weeks postpartum, doing those exercises, yeah, hey, I'm training for my first 5K, because in reality, I was, because my goal, at this point, in the dead of winter in northern Vermont, where we just got like 12 inches of snow last night, is not to do a half marathon right now, is to be able to run a 5K consistently several times a week, right? So I could say that 2 weeks postpartum, yes, I'm training for a 5K, okay? If you are training for something bigger, great. Like, put that label on it. Like, give yourself that, you know, does that help to motivate you that you're going to get back to either a regular routine, that you're going to get back to doing something for you, that you're going to get back to doing something for your physical and your mental health, that you're going to get back to just feeling like yourself again, right? So any of those things, like whatever it is that helps to motivate you to get there, then do that, okay? Because I know sometimes as a busy mom and as a runner, like doing like the basics and the foundations, it's not always like the most glamorous, but it's necessary. And again, so like shift your perspective to, I need to do these exercises so that I can run, right? I have like a sticky, I hear my son running around and I wasn't sure if he was coming downstairs. We live in a log home, and so like you can hear everything in here. So anyway, I have sort of like a sticky SI joint, I have had for a while now. And by that, I mean that it does get kind of tweaky and sensitive. So if I don't keep up with my exercises, it tends to flare and get aggravated. So like I have to kind of wrap my head around, okay, like today's not a run day. But so I need to do my exercises so that when my next run day comes around tomorrow, I'm feeling well enough to do that, okay? And so that, and kind of think of it on a bigger perspective too, is that I'm doing these exercises so that when the time comes for me to run, I'm able to do that, right, successfully. And that's what I want for myself, that's what I want for you, is that when the time comes to run, you can do it feeling so good in your body, feeling like it's just seamless, right? So like moving from postpartum rehab into running again is just a seamless transition, right? I shouldn't even say transition, it's just seamless, right? You're just continuing the rehab process, you're continuing your postpartum healing, you're continuing your pelvic floor rehab, with your running, right? Does this make sense? I hope this is making sense. Hi, my love. Hi. So that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about today. So using your event, using your distance goal as the overarching time frame, and considering everything that you're doing prior to that as training, okay? So I think that we can set our sight on a distance or event goal and heal our pelvic floor at the same time, because in essence, we need to heal our pelvic floor in order to achieve that goal successfully without any setbacks, right? Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Okay, that's it for today. Any questions, any comments, put them below and I will circle back around to them and answer them either in the comments, or if it's something that needs more explanation, I can do that in another live. If you're interested in learning more about the framework that I teach and getting some help with getting back to running yourself and healing your pelvic floor, you can send me a message. If you're really serious about it and you want to set up a discovery call with me, I do 30-minute calls. We can certainly hop on a call and talk face to face. Sometimes that's a little bit easier to talk about sort of where you're at, what your goals are, what's going on with you as far as your pelvic floor and your postpartum rehab, postpartum recovery, all that kind of stuff. Somebody's getting fussy. She needs a nap. She's at that phase where we resist naps, but we absolutely still need them. So we're gonna sign off. Can you say goodbye? Say goodbye. Yes. Okay. Maybe we just want to stand. All right. We will. We'll see you again next week for the live next week. And I hope you all have a great rest of your week and a great weekend. Bye.